Perfect.
Recording in progress.
Fantastic. Okay, that was.
Do you do the AI thing too? Do you do the AI assistant?
I don't think.
Summary?
Yeah, the summary's it's really good.
Saves a lot of time.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be a town policy probably, whether they have
Oh,
it
okay.
enabled for their Zoom.
Oh, good thinking, yep.
Right, so I don't know what their
Okay.
policy is on that.
Yeah.
Okay. After that exciting start to things, I guess we will get this meeting of the Economic Development Committee underway. I think Carrie passed around copies of the agenda. I wanted to do introductions. Alex was here. He walked away. But maybe when we come back, we can just do a quick round of introductions. It's our Derlin replacement.
One of my best friends in high school.
Oh,
I tease him, that's why.
he's out next door to where we live now.
It's wonderful.
It's been nice having that.
I taught him sailing. He and his brother.
Babysat for him.
Okay, who here doesn't have a child?
Me.
You get to tease him too.
Okay.
I would be the odd one out.
And a neat introduction.
Okay. Well, while we wait for him to come back. Here it is.
Oh, he's doing the test from his.
He is. Graves admit.
Was he trying to?
Self-viewing.
Okay, I'm hearing you.
Hello, we were just talking about you. Okay.
I'll be right there.
You were sailing carriage to your high school friend.
Sam's in Portland.
Cocktail?
Well, while we wait for him to sort of trot down here, I guess we can do a review and approval of the minutes from the last meeting that Kathy sent around. Did anyone have any comments or edits?
Did anybody read them?
That's it. There we go. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second.
In favor of approval? Fantastic, thank you, as always, Kathy.
Yeah.
We were just saying we wanted to go around and do a quick round of introductions, and then everyone was like, I taught him sailing, I babysat him.
I missed all of it.
But we can still do a quick round. I'm Megan Bailey, I'm co-chair. I believe I live next door to you with my husband, Michael. We have
Great.
2 black cats in the windows, so
My brother loves those
I
cats.
love that, and
Yes,
that makes
okay.
me very happy.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm very excited you've been here.
I like them as well. My brother loves them. so,
Okay, okay. All right, we'll work on that.
Hi, I'm Carrie Sands. I'm the co-chair with Megan. I don't think I have a pre-established connection to you. But it's lovely to meet you, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
I'm Stephanie Reese. I own the Colonels and I'm the general manager of the Northeast Harbor Tennis Club. And I think my husband knows Mark Reese. I think, yes. Friend, yes.
I'm Matt Hart. I'm the community relations director at the neighborhood house, and I think I've got all of you beat because about 20 plus years ago,
okay.
I wondered. I thought to myself
Meet somebody in this
a
room.
month or 2 ago, I wonder if he puts this on his resume still. You were effectively the de facto CEO of. It never got off the ground, our business venture, but I think now that social
You're gonna
media.
go down this path right now. He actually does win.
With social media the way it is now, I really think there's potential there for big time sales. It's TikTok gold, I think.
Yeah, we gotta hear what this is.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
That was a really strong,
Said that local
deep dive pool.
Deep dive.
What's that?
Mad respect.
No.
Martha Dudman.
And babysitter.
And babysitter.
Yeah. Kathy Miller. And Basel.
Judge McGee, high school pal.
There we go.
I tend to yell out, "Hey, Mr. Town Manager," every time I see him. That's really bad. Sorry, Alex. I'll stop doing that.
Mickey Moser wishing you luck.
Go.
A lot of chickens here too.
Yeah.
Yep, and Steve Madeira, we've chatted already. since you started.
And seriously, like sailing, this is the guy who's the best instructor.
Are you still sailing?
When I find time. Yeah. Hi, I'm Alex Kimball. I'm the new town manager. I'm on 3 weeks here. Been an eventful few weeks already, just starting to really truly get settled in to more normal operations a little bit. We've heard the town history. Prior to here, I worked, I guess for the relevant municipal history, I worked for 8 years as the finance director for the town of Cumberland, just a little north of Portland. And in many ways, it was a good proving ground. It's a very similar town in terms of size, scope, and a lot of the amenities provided to the town of Mount Desert. And then for about 12 and a half years, I had a variety of titles at the county of Cumberland, culminating in deputy county manager, which also helped me hone a lot of other skills that have already started to prove pretty useful here. So now I'm in that funny position of both being back home, but also in pretty familiar turf, working in local government and applying those skills. And I'm excited to be here and just listening for a while.
We're so excited. We've had a lot of change on the committee over the last year or so. Some relatively new members, some folks who'd been here for a long time transitioning off. And we still have 4 seats available. I know we, to kind of bring this up at every meeting. I did reach out to, his name is going to escape me, Martha, the young man at the library.
Oh, Zach.
Yes, yes, and I never heard back, but I was like, I should follow up, and I will make sure to do that. Has anyone else thought of anybody or considered anybody, or is anyone else considering stepping off in the relative near future? We're just trying to.
You may have a name, but I want to talk to the person first.
Yeah.
Can I just do
Yes, yes.
we, just to be thinking ahead, Megan and I stepped up as co-chairs a year ago, and we're currently in our last term. And neither of us is going to be able to continue after July of 2026. So we just want to put it in everybody's head to be thinking about leadership transition
Yes.
coming up.
Yes.
Will you stay on the committee, or are you gonna,
I will step off the committee.
I will probably stay on.
Thanks. So just a long on-ramp there.
Yeah. We're just,
Yeah.
we know last time with the transition, it sort of took a couple of meetings to convince us to do it. So we thought we would start.
years for him to get out of it?
Yeah,
I know, he's so patient.
I'm grateful to Dan for stepping
Yes.
up year after year, but he finally meant it one year when he stepped down.
He did, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're actually still relatively on time, even with that 10-minute debacle with the Zoom. Oh, that's right, apologies, Carrie, go for it.
This will only take 1
Yeah.
second. These are just a reminder about the forms that we sent out. A couple of years ago, the town adopted a policy of having its board and committee members sign an agreement that you've read the code of ethics and code of conduct. And then there's also a conflict of interest policy. So if you haven't done those, just go ahead and do those and get them to the town clerk. She, meaning the town clerk, also provided committee chairs with links to information about Maine law that pertains to how town boards and committees work and communicate. And all of that information is now available at the town website, which is great. So those resources are there.
Has this changed, this form?
Questions. If you filled it out when you joined.
I think I did, that's why.
Which was only this summer, right?
Right.
So it's, you're probably good. Okay,
I'm gonna
excellent.
double check, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay, great. If you think you're up to date, awesome. If you think you might not be, now would be a great time to refresh. That's it on that.
Thank you, Carrie. So we're gonna jump into a few quick updates. We're gonna start with the skating rink. Carrie is gonna give an update on
Yes.
behalf of Jamie.
Jamie is on a plane right now, but he sent me some updates to share. The fundraising champion group continues to raise funds, and currently they have raised over $1 million. Hoping to raise another 250,000. Fundraising expenses to date are pretty low for this amount of money being raised. He also says the planning board gave unanimous approval. One member was required to recuse themselves. He also reports another headwind. Construction on the tennis courts will not begin until the spring, so the original arrangement and structure will continue again this winter. I think he meant construction will continue again this winter. He says not what we had planned on, but we will make the best of it. That's all I have, and I'm not sure if I can answer specific questions, but we can note questions to be answered ahead of the next meeting.
I think the construction's not gonna start until the spring, so they're gonna do the same, the same that they've done for the last 3 winters of having the plastic sheet with the
Oh.
bumpers around it.
Thank you,
Okay.
yes, original,
For
so,
this
so
winter.
like the temporary,
They were hoping to have a construction start in like November or December, but for one reason or another, that's not gonna happen, and it won't start until like March of next year, so this winter will be the same as the last 3.
thank you for clarifying that, Kathy, awesome, great.
Kathy tipped me off on that, so I've dived into that a little bit. I think trying to get it in before the winter would be kind of asking for trouble. We'd be really putting ourselves in a spot where an early December storm could make pretty giant mess of things. I've actually seen these things go in from the past life. This is an aspect of the county of Cumberland I didn't think was coming up here. But the county owns the Cross and Shorts Arena, which of course also is minor league hockey, which also means very familiar with the term brine chiller, although I'm not hearing everyone call it a brine chiller yet. Let's all get used to calling that because it's a hilarious name for the thing that makes the ice. But the process of getting all those tubes into the concrete is tricky and needs to be done perfectly. And so I know it's super disappointing, but I do agree with what the engineers are saying, which is of all the things to not push it on, it's getting that thing perfect so that it's good for years to come. And when they do lay the concrete in the tubes, it's worth taking a look. It's quite a pattern that goes in there. So.
Thank you, that's really helpful.
It always blows my mind how much money's been raised for the rink. It's really telling.
They're a dedicated group of champions, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
A workforce housing update. Kathy, I've loved walking by the activity happening up on Summit Road.
Yes.
What?
I'm taking.
So,
Oh, awesome.
so we've had, the foundation is going in, they still need to pour the basement floor, but they have drilled into the walls for connections for water, sewer, everything, electrical communication stuff, et cetera. And so they have, as of yesterday afternoon, they had filled in on one side and they'll be filling in on the other side pretty soon. The homes themselves are actually supposed to be coming up to Ellsworth today or tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
So they're coming up, they've been constructed in Pennsylvania, they should be in transit and arriving in Ellsworth. And then after the marathon, so the week of the 20th, they are to come down to Northeast Harbor so that they'll be close to the site. And then the following week of the 27th, they should be, picked up and put on the foundations.
Wow.
So exciting times.
Where do you
Is the-
store them?
Wow.
Well, similar to the Gray Cow parking lot. So where Tim Murphy,
Right, where
Ken
he
Schmidt
kept his
had
houses,
some
yeah.
there. So we were talking with Brian Henkel about places close by, thinking that there might be someplace else. So he had worked out with Derlin, before you got started, that would be okay if we did it after the marathon.
Right.
So that's why it's
Sense.
coming
I see.
sometime that week. We had alerted them, I think that the company that's doing the transport, they must always be in communication with like the Maine DOT or any state DOT. Because, when we started this whole project, the bridge in
There's
Soamesville
a
didn't
little
look
kink in
like
the
that.
Right.
So they are aware of it, and they're either gonna have to work their way around or
Yeah.
close it off with, flaggers to stop traffic so they can get through at a time. So that's their deal.
Yeah.
But they're the professionals in moving these things,
Yeah.
so that'll be good. It will take months. The contract is 160 days from the time they're set on the foundations to the time that they are completed. So that's quite a while. We're gonna be adding on porches, Bilco doors for the basements, doing all the final details inside and outside. So it will be a spring move-in for somebody, but we're hoping later this month to put out public information about what the prices are gonna be for buying the house, eligibility criteria,
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
application process, all of that stuff. And maybe looking at a December 1 application window, so that we will start accepting applications on, particular date, and then a first come, first served basis
Yeah, yeah,
for putting in your application.
okay, yeah,
There's only 2 houses.
right,
And
yeah.
we have a feeling that we're gonna get a lot of applications, but it'll be the start of a waiting list for the future as well,
Yeah, yeah.
so.
And you never know, someone may apply, but then it's like, they didn't have quite this criteria, so you may have 2 piles of, they didn't quite, yeah. Wow, exciting.
So, fingers crossed.
Yes, 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 yes.
Are you, Kathy, are you collecting any sort of waiting list or indication of interest at this point, or is there?
Oh, yes, we have a list of 150 plus names of people who have expressed interest in housing.
Yeah.
Some of that for rent and some of it for purchase. And so our agreement was always, if you give us information, you'll get first dibs on, you'll get first information.
Notification
Exactly,
of.
that there's gonna be something available, get yourself prepared, because people will, there are income caps, the
Yeah.
population is 1 to 2 people per bedroom in either house, there's a 3-bedroom and a 2-bedroom. It has to be there, they have to agree by all of the affordability covenants, which means
Yes,
that there
yes.
will be future caps on what they can sell the homes for,
Yeah.
because the whole idea is to keep them affordable in perpetuity.
Yeah, yeah.
So people have to understand all of that. We'll have all that documentation available so people could see what the rules and limits might be. And it's not gonna be for everybody. But I think that we're trying to set it at prices that are quite affordable, and relative to anything else coming on the market, they're very affordable.
Yeah,
Which means we're subsidizing them by quite a bit.
yeah, yeah. Wow,
So,
oh, that's great, yeah.
exciting.
Any update on the, your other lot?
On Heal Way.
Yeah.
So that, at the end of August, yes, since we met in July, at the end of August, we got word from the Maine Supreme Court that they agreed that the town planning board was correct in all of the decisions on all of those matters, with one exception. And that was the question of open space requirements. And there was a long discussion during that whole process with the planning board about was it or was it not? And they decided, this open space requirement really applies to cluster, not necessarily this particular subdivision application. So they marked it as does not apply. The Supreme Court said, actually, you have to calculate it. I know you discussed it, but you have to do the calculation. You may determine that 0 is the amount required, but you still have to do the calculation rather than saying it does not apply. And so the planning board they have discussed this a little bit. They need to get one of the people who was on the planning board at the time that did the approval process back in 2 years ago, October of '23. So they asked, and Meredith Randolph has agreed to come back on there. There were 4 people on the board at the time. One has moved away, and Meredith has since left the board. The other 2 are still on the board. So I don't, it has.
voted her in.
You
We
did
voted
on
her
this
in
I
one.
thought I just saw
Monday.
that, yeah.
So she has agreed, she's been appointed now, there is actually an open alternate seat on the committee, so she's going to fill that spot for a year. And then I think that they might try and get somebody else on the committee to familiarize themselves with the whole application so that they can be certified to make decisions on it. They may and they may not do it. You need to have at least 3 people to approve this thing going forward. So that process is going to be happening, but in November probably. I think it'll come up at planning board meeting in November.
Good, well,
Thank you as always, Kathy.
That's the last detail.
yes, yeah, oh gosh,
You were such a great champion for this.
gosh, patience, yeah, wow,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Been a long haul.
yes, yeah.
If it's okay with everyone, and Carrie, if it's okay, I want to quickly touch on the visitor info thing since Georgianne isn't here, and then we can have maybe a slightly longer discussion about the winter gathering piece of things before jumping into the new topics. So at the last meeting, Georgianne had brought up the possibility of, or she noted that the town doesn't have on its website an easily accessible calendar or link to events happening out and about. And she noted that the chamber does, and she wondered if it would be possible for the town to either link to the chamber site or, have some sort of coordination going on there. And so we, at the last meeting, we discussed the possibility of chatting with Derlin and coming to the select board to get their take on it. And I think with the transition, we opted to kind of wait, and she wants to come and chat with you about it. So she's not here today, but I wanted to just make you aware of just that, idea that she has, and I'm sure she'll be reaching out relatively soon.
With the old website the town had, there used to be like a calendar and you could click on the date. Is that not there anymore?
There, but I think it's pretty specific to meeting agenda stuff.
Okay,
So
okay.
there's one that's definitely good.
Because I was at
for-
a meeting the other day and they're like, well, let's look on the calendar, and everyone said, oh, there's no count, so we didn't know how to, okay, so it's a little different, okay,
Yeah, I think it's just meetings and nothing else right now,
okay.
but I obviously don't know the history on that.
Just
Okay.
sort of
Okay.
town business.
Right,
official
yes,
town
yes,
business.
but is there an actual like November or October calendar
I don't think
with the
so.
dates
I don't
that you
think
can click on like before?
Different now.
Right,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's what I think it was Kat, weren't we
You go
looking, we were in a
under the-
meeting, yes, yeah,
The either agenda, there's an agenda list.
Yeah,
you-
okay. But not a calendar anymore, you can look at,
No.
oh, there's February 5th and there's nothing planned that day, let's plan some, okay, all right.
And was the idea that,
Yeah.
I know, it was
Yeah,
nice, that was
really
nice.
handy,
Yeah.
yes, yep, okay.
was the idea that someone might be Googling like Mount Desert things to do or something, and they would land on the town website, not necessarily the chamber website, and then that would be an easy way to find things to do, was that the?
I think so, and I think she just pointed to a couple of other towns that, the town itself was sort of broadcasting,
Yeah.
things to do, and
And through a link, yeah,
A
got
link,
it.
yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
okay,
Yep.
super.
Okay, winter gatherings. So at our last meeting, there was a lot of sort of optimism around the possibility of continuing or expanding or, doing, having there be more winter gathering events like there were last year that the neighborhood house hosted. And we were talking about the possibility of, the Astaku was considering remaining open over the weekends, and the Nor'easter was going back and forth about possibly remaining open. And I think both of those they're planning to close for the season this year.
I do have an update about a few things.
Oh, well, I was gonna pitch it to you, so please.
For those who don't know, this past winter, a summer resident funded 2 cocktail parties at the neighborhood house that were catered by Milk and Honey. And it was called Sip, Snack, and Socialize. It was a BYOB thing. It was really fun. It was like right when you needed it, early evening. And so it took me a minute to figure out who the summer resident was. I went down the wrong path and actually might have gotten some funding from somebody else for something else to do, which would be great. But I got the right one today, and she would love to fund it again. So I think we've got $8,000 to do a couple things. Carrie and I actually we watched the Soul Benders play last week at COA, and I actually think it'd be really fun to have a dance kind of cocktail party. They're such a great band, and they have a huge following, and I think we'd get people from all over the island, which would be fun. So that's one idea. And I asked them, and they're very open to it, so that was great. And it's affordable, so. Wow. I just want to also clarify something. I'm also the vice president of the chamber, as some people know. And as I've been going around talking to people about this, I think there was some confusion that maybe I was trying to organize this on behalf of the chamber, which I wasn't. I was trying to do it as a year-round resident who wants things to do. But Georgianne called me yesterday and she said, well, these things you're trying to do, they're not economic development. And I said, I don't think that's what the assignment was. The assignment was, we all want some things to do. And so I told her that I'd bring it up so that we could all talk about whether I was doing the right thing or being confusing. I don't think I was, so.
I think this committee anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
the name is not completely accurate. It's
Yeah.
economic and community development.
That's what I said to her, yeah.
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 And the only other thing I'll say is, I talked with Anne Marie, and I really sense, I'm just gonna talk about you now. That those guys have enough to do, and so as part of sort of helping oversee this, I have the energy to really help make things happen, and I've got friends, and we have other friends, and so I really want to, like I talked with Anne Marie about doing potluck dinners and sort of organizing more craft events at the library like they used to do. So I really do have some energy for some of this stuff, and I'll keep you guys posted, but we aren't gonna really know, I think we're not gonna get that money until January, from what I understand, so we'll try to sort of put some things in motion ahead of time, but that's where that all stands now, so.
If there's anything, we collectively can do,
Yes.
we talked, Dan used to say that we should be called the sustainability committee because we're really talking about,
The town.
sustaining the town, and I think this is definitely part of it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, I'm so excited. I fully went into this thinking that this discussion wasn't going to have as much energy because of the Asticue and the Nor'easter and all of that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, Nikki and I have just been brainstorming, and Also, Brown's the night of I'm gonna put my chamber hat on now for a second. The night of the Christmas festival, which is another thing that I spend a lot of time working on. Brown's is gonna be open. They're gonna have like a pop-up craft market for Friday night, all day Saturday and Sunday.
Awesome.
Gingerbread contest, caroling, hot cocoa. There's gonna be a lot going on. It'll be fun, and we've gotten permission from Chief Bender to do solo stove fires down the street instead of one bonfire. And we're putting up a lobster trap tree this year, which will be really fun. So that there's feeling like some good energy about that, which I think is also just part of,
Do you have a date for the
yeah, it's December 6th.
December 6th?
Yeah.
Is that the same date as the Frosty 5K?
That's
Yeah. Okay.
the first event of the day, yep.
Got it. So just some logistical notes. I'm not sure how the money flowed last time. Maybe the donor just paid the neighborhood house to organize those
I think that's how it happened.
Right, yeah, it was like last December, everyone was like, oh, the Nor'easter's closed, and this summer couple heard about that.
Yeah.
The original thing was, we wanna throw a big party. And so we kind of said, well, what about something a little more low-key, and it worked out well. They covered the cost of the catering. The rentals are another crazy cost. We're all in the wrong business. We need to be like renting tables and tablecloths.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it's funny because I think we did it in February and March, I think.
Yes.
And we were planning on doing something again. We didn't know whether this donor would be in touch again, but we'll do at least one thing. And then Jen kind of swooped in and we were like, okay. So, but that is an interesting question. I don't know whether it would be them maybe making out a check to the Community Development Corporation.
I mean, if it's all happening through the
Yeah.
neighborhood, I just got the sense that you guys could use some help
I mean, we
with
can make
making it happen.
And the other thing, they were well attended, but we kind of thought like, oh, the one, because anytime we do a nighttime event, we've always tried to do like a cafe at night or something. And the next cafe, every person over the age of 75 says, I don't go out at night. So we thought, well, the first one, it's still in February, it's still dark out at 5, but it was well attended. It was about 85, 90 people. We thought the one in March would be even better attended because it was after the time change and it would be light out at like 5:30 or whenever it started. And it was about the same, maybe even a few less, so.
I think some people were away.
There's some weird weather.
There was some
weather that night.
Might have been.
And I think it
it
was rainy or something.
I also think like we can get the word out more, but
And I think word of mouth will be big because the people that did go last time, they, oh, that was nice, and hopefully they'll kind of talk it up this time and more will show.
and I think we'll get the Soul Benders constituency there too, which will feel really fun.
So would would the events for 2026 also take place at the neighborhood house, or would?
I think those things would probably, just because they have the infrastructure to handle
Okay.
it. But I'm also looking at neighborhood house and, the library
Okay.
and some other things.
Because I'm just, we can keep in touch about how what the
Yeah.
most efficient way is to get the financial support to the people who are spending the money
Thank you.
directly on it. Yeah. It just, if you had thoughts about that,
I-
that we
I-
should discuss as a group, but
I haven't
maybe,
yet.
maybe in our January meeting, we can talk about
Yeah,
that.
that'd be great.
Were you gonna say something, Nikki? No, okay.
Maybe. I was just gonna say I'm helping Jen.
She is.
We'll figure some stuff out. I mean, I think the one thing that we didn't say is that on our list are like places that are outside of
Yeah,
directly Northeast
we've also
Harbor,
been
like
trying to
really
figure
like-
out.
Cause newbie here was like, exactly where does that map go? Where does Bar
Yeah.
Harbor start and where does Northeast Harbor end? So there are little community spots that maybe don't have the scale that the neighborhood house has, but it feels like spreading it out
Yes.
would be important. So little things like I volunteered Rick for a cribbage festival, which he's not quite sure how to do yet, but I'm working on him, little things.
Does he know how to play cribbage?
Rick, yes, and I won't play with him because I think it's stupid. So he would like to play, and they were doing it at the Nor'easter, but they didn't have like a system to actually make it like a tournament.
Yeah.
So if I could find a partner, this is actually a good ask, if I could find a logistical partner for Rick who could organize the like how you figure out who won what round and who advances, he would be thrilled to then show up and help with a cribbage festival.
Like kind of an MC.
And I would provide cards and find cribbage boards wherever I could find them. And humor, right? And maybe cookies, a marginally supportive partner. And cookies, so. But I will not play
Fans
cribbage.
be on alert. Yeah.
Don't they have cribbage day, or is that, they have a cribbage day at Somersville Library?
I don't know, but we could
Good to
ask
know.
them.
Yeah,
They
Because
have
they're in-
something.
they did, I remember seeing they had some.
And I think they started Mahjong something, which
Yeah,
I'm
that's,
trying to learn to play that. That's a whole
the
nother.
Mahjong ladies came to the museum this summer, and that was great fun. They came actually every week for a month. They came one day a week.
Wow.
They move around, yeah.
I'm learning at Neighborhood House. We'll see how it, oh my God, yeah.
The Nor'easter in the wintertime did a bunch of trivia nights.
Yes, they did. Those were fun.
Those kinds of things
Those
might
were
be
fun.
fun to do elsewhere as well.
Yeah.
Those were fun.
It's a good idea.
Well, and MDI Historical has a pretty good following for those, but they do them at a restaurant. We don't have an open restaurant. That's kind of the problem. But if we could provide an evening of bag lunch trivia somewhere, I don't know how you do that, but they do, but those are we go to a lot of those, they're well attended. But I have noticed that they are always at a restaurant.
Level doesn't next,
Yeah, they have,
Southwest do a trivia, yeah, I think they do, yeah,
So how to replicate that within
Or
yeah.
desserts,
Yeah. Oh,
and-
yeah.
And I just want to acknowledge I think there's some wisdom in spreading things out
Yes.
if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
think
that
it shouldn't all
corners of
be
the
right,
community
I mean,
feel-
I like to go to the neighborhood house, but I'm not sure everything should be there. It feels like the town is bigger than that.
Well, it seems like if there's stuff at the Otter Creek Hall that we know about, we could, as a committee, we could help publicize it too. And try to connect with them, so.
So do you think that, I wonder if MDI Historical would do like a potluck dinner, because they do the bean supper famously, but I wonder if they would do potluck at the Otter Creek Hall with
idea.
trivia.
Yeah.
Like potluck and trivia, that would be fun,
Would be.
wouldn't it?
they keeping the hall open in the winter,
Do they?
are they?
I think so.
Are they?
I don't know.
So prior to living here in a past life, I lived on Isle of Ho, which is an island off of Deer Isle, and in the winter, we would do potluck dinners like once a month. If there was a school play, the kids would put on a school play, or, sometimes it was just to do something, and everyone brought their own dishes and silverware, so there was no mess to clean up, and it
Right.
was just an opportunity to get together, and they were.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Rainey's really like, as they're doing more civic things and they're looking
Yeah.
at the bean supper, and they did a potluck at the neighborhood house when was that? In August? When was the last thing?
Yeah,
When it was their open
That's
meeting.
Their meeting.
It was the open meeting and a potluck, and it looked, I got there late after work, but it looked really well attended, and I wonder if that's an option, because sometimes you don't always want to go to the restaurant that they're having trivia.
That's true.
I mean, I want to support the restaurant, but I don't always want to eat at the restaurant.
Apparently there's a vegan potluck at the neighborhood house once a month,
They're starting back up again. I don't know if they have yet, but
Fascinating.
I think it's like
the third Thursday or something.
Thursday, yeah,
So
yeah.
that could be something we can publicize too.
Mm.
It's the woman from Middle Earth Mushrooms.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, she was in the boot camp, remember?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Vegan
Yeah.
potluck.
So they're doing potluck at neighborhood house?
Yep,
Over the winter?
they just started it last year, and they kind of did it from winter through like very early spring. I think they had like 12 to 15 people most times, yeah.
Is it a secret? Because I've never heard of it.
I mean, I think it's open to
Maybe.
anyone, it's just, you know, I think it's just a group of friends that started
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Handshake at the same time.
Just to circle back to the point that you raised earlier about community development versus economic development, and Matt's comment that this committee is really about both economic development and community building. I feel like some of the efforts to have a series of lively events here in the town in the off season were connected to witnessing businesses, and sort of an increase in businesses closing down for the winter, and sort of having pop-up events to just demonstrate, hey, there are people here who want to come out, who want to be together, who want to, buy some food or drink or participate in an event. So I think that in some respects, the distinction between community building and economic development is important, but in some respects, one feeds into the other, and it's sort of all connected, if that makes sense.
That's what I said to Georgianne, so I'm glad that you
Yeah.
think that too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no,
I'm curious what other people
No,
think
I mean,
about
I think
that.
that's what sort of started this conversation in the first place about really trying to emphasize these winter gathering events.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Women's Community Cafe next, when is it?
A week from tomorrow.
I was gonna say, you guys have your hands full with just
There's
that now.
not much of a
No, yeah.
downtime.
Yeah,
this year,
no.
No, those, yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, honestly,
I'm happy to do it.
and again, please let us know what we can do, how we can help, and in January at our next meeting.
Thanks.
Look forward to hammering out more specific details and helping you as we can.
Thanks.
Oh, that's exciting. I was fully mentally prepared for that to not be a positive discussion, so I'm feeling great right now. Okay. So we're gonna pivot to some new topics, and I wondered if Kathy might sort of kick off that discussion with her concept of a tech hub and her
Tech talk.
yes.
So, when our organization was started about 8 years ago, we had the 4 pillars of the community here of Mount Desert were art, food, science and technology, and the natural environment. And science and technology, because the island has such, world-renowned labs here and spin-offs of that. And we started looking, so I started talking to a bunch of other people at the Bio Lab and the Small Business Development Center person, et cetera. And then we sort of tapped into Renee Kelly, who runs the Foster Center for Innovation at UMO, and Diane Tilton, who runs the Down East Aqua Center, the Down East Institute down in Beals, the Aqua Center. And we formed a little group called MSTAR. That was eventually the name, but it was really coming out of the state's interest in having hubs of excellence around the state centered on one thing or another. And for our point of view, we're like, this is Eastern Maine. We have more NIH funding than any place else in the state because of the labs here. We have a lot of people who are in the technology business and many people working from home, et cetera. But it's not very well organized, and we find that when new businesses start up in the technology world, they often are drawn to southern Maine and then to Boston because that's where the money is, just following the money. What could we do to attract funding, investment funding, more jobs, more people to come and stay in this part of the state? So we were talking about, from Orono, Bangor, down east, Washington and Hancock counties. And it became the MSTAR, the Eastern Maine Science, Technology, and Academic Region. And we were working with different entities or doing different things, and it's hard to coalesce because this is your little side gig to your real job, and people got busy, so it kind of faded away. But during that process, we also got that group got some funding from MTI to talk about how do we bring people together. And in part it was, how do you bring people together networking? I mean, one of the early things we looked at was for small businesses in any community, the Kauffman Foundation 1 Million Cups program. And I don't know if anybody else is familiar with that, but it's like a Rotary meeting. You do it the same place, the same time, same day of the week, same time of day. And you have one or two people talking about their business and what it is they're trying to do. And there's a whole group of people. At the end, you say, so what do you need and how can we help you? And it's just sort of a support networking kind of thing. And so that was our vision, is bringing people together to have conversations built around science, technology, and the academic component of all of that. And so during all of this, last bunch of years, we've also become very aware of this entity based out of Vermont called the Center on Rural Innovation, or CORI, just goes by CORI all the time. And it was somebody who was very engaged in the technology world, but really wanted to live in Vermont. That's where he was, It's like, why don't we have rural centers of technology and innovation? And how could we foster that? And Judy Spruill, who was at the BioLab, and I both attended a session that the gentleman who started Center on Rural Innovation did at a Maine Community Foundation event in Bangor. And we're like, this makes a lot of sense. This is something great. And they have really expanded their scope and the impact that they're having across the country in helping rural communities figure out, does your community have a role in the future of technology? Can you convert those mills that have been shut down and get new jobs for those people with some kind of a technology focus? And so we're just exploring things. But early on over the summer, I was having a conversation with Sylvia Torti, who's the new president at COA, and she was very interested in technology. And we actually looked at a space in town and was like, yeah, could this be, the old Masonic Hall, 2 stories, unused space. It's where people did things. So like, could this be Mason's 2.0 with a technology bent? There's space in there, but the whole building needs rewiring, needs plumbing, needs an elevator, needs all kinds of things. But you gotta dream big or you don't get anywhere anyway. So we gathered a small group of people together. Turns out that one of our apartment tenants just finished the Rue Institute, got her second master's in computer science and analytics, data analytics, et cetera, from the Rue Institute, which is a program based in Portland, an offshoot of the Northeastern University. And we have our own in town here. Pete Kufari is a small business owner. He has Mobile One, which is an app used in sports fields. And he would love to have more people in technology in the town and in the community. So we know that there are individuals doing stuff like, can we bring everybody together? We cannot escape the impact of technology on all of our lives and every facet of our lives. How do we embrace that and try and get more people comfortable with it, using it, create solutions to problems we might have, whether that's an environmental problem, a socializing problem, a healthcare problem, whatever it is. Can we attract people to do some training, and where might this all go? And so through this process, we had a small group of people, somebody from COA, and John Boynton is another one who's very interested in this, because that has been his whole life too, is in technology, as a venture capitalist starting him. And our own Steve Laura here has also been in the tech world forever. So we sort of assembled a bunch of people and had Dave, drawing a blank, Dave Feldman from COA joined us on there as well. And I also recruited Susan Rulin, who had recently left the Dirigo Labs Accelerator Program in Waterville. And she came up and had a conversation with us all about what that experience was, her interactions with the Center on Rural Innovation and how helpful they were to Dirigo in expanding their programs, her input on whether, does the state need another accelerator program? Maybe not, but maybe spend some time with ideation about what role technology could play in our community. And from my point of view, from an economic development point of view, I'm like, you know what? If people are working from home remotely or even in a shared workspace, et cetera, even if they're working for somebody else, that's income coming into the community that can be spent around here. That's a plus, I think, for our community. And so, and we have problems, what's our electrical grid doing? How can we form our own electric grid? How can we do this? How can we do that? What role could technology play in improving all of our lives, helping the economy, and maybe shifting from a tourist-centered economy to something that's less depending on tourism because it shuts off November 1, So what role might that play? So we've had a couple of conversations. We have a little bit of money from the MTI grant, and so we can put it to good use if we can start networking events or something else like that. So that's where we are.
So the idea is sort of dual purpose, supporting local entrepreneurs and solving local problems with technology, at least.
It could be.
Yeah. Thanks for that summary.
And, I also think recognizing the role that remote workers, even if they're not entrepreneurs, just remote workers working for somebody else. I'm giving a keynote on Friday, and that's a really big piece of my talk, is showing that change, particularly since COVID, and how it's affected rural parts of Maine. And it's been pretty significant.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I've been working sort of as an aside, very small part of my own work, but seeing where might this lead. So we've just had some conversations, and I'm just sort of wondering, is it something we should continue to pursue? Should we bring more people into the conversation? Where might this go?
Yeah.
And is there any role for this committee to play in fostering those conversations?
Well, it seems like it could be a draw for people considering moving to Mount Desert, right? As more people work remotely.
And we made sure that everybody in the town, through the town's broadband committee, that spectrum is available to every street in town.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that people had access to it.
Yeah.
Did you learn in your conversations with the experts from Vermont Center on Rural Innovation, is that right? Is there a playbook that a town of our size would look to for guidance?
They do have sort of a checklist, an assessment of, is your town ready for this? Do you have this? One of those things is, do you have higher ed close by? Well, we do have the college. They recommend like a community population of about 5,000. It's like, well, maybe not the town of Mount Desert, but the island, is 5,000. And as I think about it, I would always want whatever we did to be here in Northeast Harbor as an attraction for people to come here. I mean, that's always our goal, is to have people, if they're not living here because they can't afford to, are they coming here for some other reason? And they might also get gas, go out to lunch, do this, do that, et cetera. More people, their work or their hobby or their passion or whatever it is bringing them in. And I think that there are so many businesses or types of industries. I was really prompted on this more recently when we had all of those renderings done for our Nolan Way project and Heel Way. It's like, man, these guys are so good. These drawings are outstanding. They did them in such a short time frame. They're beautiful. It's like, how did you do that? What technology did you use? Would you like to set up a satellite office? We have architects around here, I mean, this would be a good job for somebody.
Live in
to
a
do
beautiful
this kind of
place.
thing and be useful to people who are either buying a house, renovating a house, useful to the architects, et cetera. It's like, that's just one iteration of what a technology program could bring to the community, you know?
What is it called? The wheelhouse above 123. Is that year round? Is that summer only?
It's open year round. We actually spent our first 2 years renting space for about half of that upper floor there.
That's where Pete Kafari is
And
set
so
up
now
now.
Pete moved up there.
Okay,
So
okay,
he's taking
yeah.
over the conference room. There are 4 or 5 private offices, and then 3 cubbies, and then a shared table. So people can come in for a day and have space and, you know, have coffee, copier, Wi-Fi, et cetera. So they're very busy in the summertime
Yes.
and pretty empty. I mean, we were the only ones there in the wintertime then, and now I'm sure Pete's gonna be the only one there now too, so. But that was the idea,
Right.
because John Boynton started it, and he has another version of that down in Concord that is busy all the time, you know, so. So we know that that model can work in the right community, so.
I have 2 thoughts. One is just reflecting, Kathy, on your comment about a technology, meaning the architectural drawings, that is related to an economic activity that's very prevalent here already, which is like real estate transfers and real estate development, you know, and that just seems like a beautiful way to build on your assets, you know, we're not gonna not be a tourism community, you know, that's just, I think, at least in the next 100 years, but we are, you know, there will always be real estate transactions happening there. Like, so what are the other things that are like good for the community that are always happening here that have a technology component that could help make the case for citing some sort of development, you know, here? So that was one thought I had in reflection of what you're saying. And then the other thought I had is, in terms of this committee, I guess my initial thoughts are, it's a great place to bring ideas up and hear from people who have different economic roles in the community, or nonprofit roles, or town government roles, or resident roles. Just, it's a great place to hear feedback from people. And I think, you know, we all now know that this idea is alive, and who do we know that we might want to mention it to, and, you know, put them in touch with you. And then if there is, I think in the future, if the idea seems to have legs, I think this committee, and tell me if I'm wrong, Martha, but this committee could be a good place to interface with the town level of community interaction, like is there zoning or policy, or I don't know, that maybe I'm wrong about that, but this is a place where sort of community ideas and town government, you know, meet. So how could that relationship be useful, I think, in developing the idea? Those are just my thoughts.
And I know I was supposed to be at that meeting and I had another meeting pop up at the same time, but please keep us posted if you do have future meetings, because I think having someone else from the committee, you wear both hats beautifully, but sometimes it's nice to have, you know, that perspective to, you know, reflect.
And Steve was at it.
I was
That's right,
there
yes.
on Zoom, yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't be there, but in person, but I was there, yeah, I was there on Zoom. It's it's very interesting that the challenge is, you know, how do you at some point I sort of have this tendency sort of, you know, cut to the chase, and it's like, okay, so how are you gonna structure a business, or what can you do here that's unique to structure a business that could generate good jobs in this town? I mean, I sort of went sort of all the way to the end, and so you know, I started thinking about, you know, the only way that you're going to be able to at least get a foot in the door, because a lot of these things already exist. Is, I mean, the first thing I thought of was, you know, you could put a call center here, right? There would be no problem. There's already one in, you know, I know in Belfast there's a big one there, but I mean, there's you know, a third party call center company could, you know, no problem, could have that here. You know, third party software development, you could have, you know, that kind of stuff. If you know, some sort of services company that just needs bodies, because in theory anyway, the cost of a body here would be less than the cost of a body in Boston, or in Portland even, for that matter. So you could have, you don't necessarily want to go into it, you know, trying to compete on price right out of the gate, but at the same time, this in theory should be a less expensive place than a big city to work in. And I mean, I know when I was in one of my prior lives, I hired a call center group in South Dakota. So I went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the middle of February, which was a real interesting. That was a basic situation. Well, I mean, the only thing I remember is waking up, it was 2 below. And I walked from the hotel to the car, which was literally back from here to my car here, and I just got out of the shower, my hair froze like.
Yeah.
But anyway, but it was amazing. It was amazing what they were able to do up there, and something similar here. But of course, that already exists. So how do you how do you break into that? What's the next thing? So is there something with AI?
Yeah, that's,
I mean, for that matter, you talked about old empty buildings. Could you put a data center up there?
data center, right?
That's a fairly heavy lift. But a lot of those things are going into places like, I mean, I keep thinking of in Bucksport, the old paper mill there. That big old building and what's gonna go in there, but that would be, that's the kind of places where these things are going. So is that something that could happen here? Cause that would be a huge benefit. So anyway, that's where I sort of in that meeting sort of came out of it as like, okay, well, how could you actually put this into, something that would actually generate, jobs and revenue and activity in this part of the world? And those are just, I don't have the answer yet, but those are some of the things I thought of that would be at least worth investigating or trying to find.
And I think your example of Bucksport and Millinocket is the other group I always think of as, a small community that has really gotten itself together in a really impressive way over the past couple of years.
The Arcatadan example.
Yeah.
And I think Anne was maybe going to say something. Were you going to say something?
No, I was pretty much in line with Steve's thought process. You want to kind of cut to the chase, but the truth of the matter is, and the way you framed it, it's great. It's like you're using technology, not just creating a one technology solution. It's thinking about it holistically. I think our cold water here could give us some room with people who love to do the cold plunges.
Along those lines then, one of the things that I've been thinking for a long time is having a hackathon and sort of build an event, a season, sort of like our old boot camps of having speakers, having people from different spheres talk about how technology might impact their sphere, whether it's art or nature or science or food or anything else, and then come up with a problem and challenge and have a hackathon.
Yeah.
And people of different ages. It could be fun, it could be engaging, you come up with a potential solution to a problem, but it would also be a winter activity around here,
Rue, not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but Rue does that. They do these Maine startup weekends that are basically little hackathons organized around specific themes. So
there's a model.
Pick a theme and have it relate to Mount Desert.
I'm gonna follow up with you about that.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to put you in touch with the people who run those events through Rue.
Great, thank you.
Jay and I have attended a couple of them just to see how they do that. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Like it.
How many, so we have the college, right? I'm sure this varies and I'm sure, caveat. How many, how many of them stick around after they graduate?
What a good question.
And is there a way, I'm sure it's not, I know the median age of our county, so I know it's not a lot, but I know that. Yeah, I know, I'm aware. I don't know, I think getting students involved in something, and enticing them or seeing an opportunity here might get them to stick around.
There was a list, I work at College of the Atlantic, for anyone who doesn't know. There was a list that that someone started a few years ago that was all the businesses on the island that were started by
Yeah.
alumni. There's
Like Swallowfield.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or Copita right here in town.
Right, yep.
We have,
Real pizza.
right, Michael Bullen is responsible for probably X% of them. Yeah. But, right, Real Pizza.
Eddie Monet.
On it, we can all probably think of 5 immediately and then learn about, 10 more. So I don't know where that list is. It doesn't exactly answer your question, and I don't know what the stats are on how many students stick around. But
Yeah.
that could be an important dynamic to think about in terms of encouraging people who come here
Yeah.
and think they're going to be here for 4
Yeah.
years, fall in love with it, want to stay here, and then want options, that meet, that touch on their interests beyond just, it's a beautiful place to live.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, the body point, is a
Right.
good one, but we need bodies to be here. And, we're an aging community, we're an aging state, really trying to keep
I think part of that difficulty is affordability.
100%.
I was just gonna say, and then we
It all
come down
circles
to
back.
the
It's
place
all
to
like,
live.
Comes right back down to housing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, we're from apartment to townhouse to houses and,
Tent.
to tent, anything, all of
It
the,
happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that sort of update, Kathy. And I think before we touch on things that we so we've already identified for the January meeting, we're gonna check in with Jen on where she is with that process. And again, in the meantime, between now and then, please don't hesitate. And we'll also, we can do what we can to advertise like the Christmas festival and, these other things that are happening between now and then. Any other potential business for the January meeting?
Make sure we touch on this too.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so Kathy reached out about she made a really interesting point, and she wondered whether it made sense for this is about the conversations with businesses, whether it made sense for the committee or some other, for us to have conversations with businesses in the area, whether it's businesses that have recently closed, like Brown's, businesses that do close during the winter, so like Nor'easter and whatnot, and just get their take on, what is working, what is not working. But we do understand that the chamber also just had a couple of business roundtables in the spring. Carrie, did you have any other?
I think Georgianne
Yeah,
could speak to that
yeah,
and probably could do an update next time because
Okay.
she's pretty dialed into everybody who's closing and why they're closing and what's happening.
And that, I think that was, I think that was definitely you, Kathy, right, who suggested that as an agenda item for this meeting. So it was give me 1 second. It was, I think you had said it could help inform future economic development, and it sounds like the chamber has some data on
think so,
that.
yeah.
Sorry,
That would
Nikki,
be
go
No,
ahead.
no, I have a hypothetical question based on, so, I recently saw something where someone had said they were looking for space, but not in Northeast Harbor. And I reached out and I was like, why not in Northeast Harbor? And they said that they had come to the town manager and been told that the type of business that they had would absolutely not be approved. So I was wondering, is there a set of those guidelines? Is there a rule? Is it hypothetical? Is it based on?
Was it a temp
opinions?
business?
Nope, it was, nope,
We didn't know that.
was not that, and I'd like to have the conversation with that, like I said to them, I'm not looking to open a wormhole or cause any grief, but I am sort of curious, is there a set of guidelines from the town about what businesses are more likely to be licensed, less likely to be licensed? Is that actually an issue? Because I know that I registered my business with the town and I don't remember being grilled particularly hard about what I was gonna be doing over there.
It's the first I've heard.
Martha and I are both giving each other
Okay,
quizzical
I
looks
was
right
like-
now, so.
Yeah, I'm just sort of curious. I mean, I would be happy to have a private.
prostitution.
It was not that.
I was like,
Not that.
what in the
I had
world?
those
Yeah.
200.
It was nothing that was not legal or licensable
Oh.
currently
They have
anywhere
it in
else.
other towns and other places, okay.
Yes, and again,
Just all curious.
Yeah.
I know, what is it?
Was it a paper-making business?
it was not.
A mill.
Chemicals.
20
yeah.
questions.
Yeah, no, huh.
No,
A
it
pig
was
farm.
not. No.
I can dig,
Maybe
that
we-
would be news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we
But
could have a conversation.
Obviously,
But,
news to
but
me
I,
doesn't mean much right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I
okay.
was sort of curious about that sense of like.
Yeah.
What sort of businesses do people want in town, and is
Yeah.
that a thing, and is that, I'm gonna get myself into trouble here soon.
But I
but-
think you,
Because there's a lot of empty space in town, we are looking at a tremendous amount of empty real estate right now.
Yes.
It's really scary and sad.
that's a very illuminating story, and I think the question you raised right after it is key, like, hey, is there some set of guidelines, or how would a person know, like, what would,
Right.
how would a person know? I don't know, maybe there's not. But,
And, I think your point about, well, what do people want
Yeah.
in town? What is their vision? I'm assuming and hoping that that's a question that the comp plan committee might be able to help answer.
Well, you've had
Not
that
to, once again,
I was
throw
gonna
it
say,
back to
I'm on
you.
copy.
many times.
oh, you're a comp
Yeah,
plan
I'm
too.
on comp plan,
Okay,
yeah.
so-
Oh, yeah, I'm on comp plan, yeah.
Everything but a hemp store. Everybody always says drugstore.
Oh, yeah, oh, to get yeah. Yes, yeah. I think it's the $1 million question right now for Northeast and maybe some other towns, but I think a lot of people are trying to figure that.
Well, if you want for January, because we have asked that question over the years, many times.
Yes.
What kind of business do you want? And I'll try and gather information for the January meeting.
There was drugstore and, yeah,
Drugstore, place to eat,
Yeah.
because we've
Yeah.
got a hair place now, so that's.
yeah, yeah.
Dry cleaner.
Dry cleaners, yeah.
Okay, thanks for letting me bump back to that.
No,
That
no,
one.
thank you. I completely skipped right over that.
And you had started the list, you were starting to build a list, I think, of business for January.
Well, and I think that built right on it.
Okay, perfect.
So I think that's perfect. So, again, we'll be able to, get an update from Jen. We can maybe circle back to Georgianne, and get her take on, just sort of business sentiment right now, what's worked, what's not worked, and see if maybe, if that suffices, or if, there's another role this committee can play in understanding some of that.
That makes sense.
I think the point about, is there a set of guidelines, around businesses and licenses and all of that?
Well, the question is, like, I could go out courting a bunch of businesses,
Yeah.
but it would be awful to have them show up and be like, oh, no, you can't be here. You know,
Yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
I'd like to know.
Yeah, no, I think it's completely valid.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in. I think in general for a municipality, there are of course many occasions where they may jump in and dictate certain businesses, but that's typically tied to very sort of upfront rules that oftentimes would be voted on even by the town. Because obviously it's a very, very slippery slope if you start getting down that, and so you need to be extremely careful. And certainly, a good example would be the recent rounds of legislations that occurred with recreational marijuana stores, where municipalities had that choice, but it was an extremely upfront process.
An opt-in.
Yeah, an opt-in
Yeah.
type of process. So, like I said, going too far and dictating is an extremely slippery slope that most municipalities would stay very far away from overstepping there. So.
Okay, is there any other topic that, and of course, folks can, we stay in touch between the meetings, and if any ideas come to mind, we'll make sure it gets on the agenda in January, but is there anything sort of pressing, anything else pressing on folks' minds that we want to make sure we hit on in January? All right, our next meeting is going to, I meant to pull this. what's the second Wednesday in January? It's going to be on,
I'm gonna see what you say and see if it matches what I think.
do you say what you think, say what you think.
January 14th is what I think.
Okay. Correct. Good job, Carrie. Yeah, you came prepared. It's gonna be at 4 o'clock on January 14th. Any other quick updates or?
Any announcements or
Yeah.
anyone?
Shameless self-promotion. Rick is having a Studio Palooza open studio visit
Yes.
Saturday. Come by. They're cookies 10 to 3.
I saw the
11
poster.
Tracy Road.
I was like, we're gonna be there, so I will see you there, yes.
Come on over.
Is there anything the marathon goes through? Do
That's right.
businesses have a boom time before or after the marathon?
No.
Single-minded group.
It starts really early and it ends in Southwest Harbor.
Yeah. I mean, we get someone that will run in for a donut that's not necessarily sitting. I think they're trying to follow their runners. So
Yeah.
they'll wait and definitely grab a donut or a pastry, but I don't think they necessarily have the time
But
to.
even the night before, there's
But
a.
people
dinner.
watching.
Saturday
Yeah,
is
watching.
Saturday's pretty good.
Yeah,
Saturday's pretty good.
Yeah, Sunday's usually pretty quiet.
yeah, Sunday's
Sometimes we
quiet.
just cheer as they go
Yeah,
by.
exactly.
Yes, yep,
That's kind of my last Sunday open until December, so
yeah, same. We close a few days after that, yeah.
it's fun though.
Yeah.
And the half starts at the neighborhood house, right?
Right,
Yeah.
20th?
19.
Sunday the
19th, yeah.
Marathon.
How many of you were running in it?
My daughter's running.
Oh.
You can cheer for Georgia.
Her husband's running.
She's running.
It's like his sixth or something.
One and done.
I might be doing the half.
Really?
If he holds up, yeah.
First time.
We'll see.
Oh,
We'll see.
But I was even talking to someone in Southwest Harbor. I was busy on, and they're like, no, we are actually not busy on the day. Even though everyone ends there, it's, they're tired, exhausted, the roads shut down, it's,
Right.
yeah.
Hard to get.
I'm always a little afraid
It's a
to
tough
drive
day,
anywhere.
yeah.
Where it ends, you know, it's hard to
Stay out
walk
of there.
around.
It is
the
very
south.
hard, that's what she said, yeah, she said, no, that's not a busy day, and I said, oh, I'm gonna say, yeah.
That's really
What
interesting feedback.
day are you
Yeah,
guys closing?
I think Tuesday, the 22nd, we order food Friday, however long it gets, yeah, but that's what we're aiming for, yeah.
Have you had a good season?
Yeah, it was a good season. I know people were,
I know.
we should just
officially
appreciate
adjourn.
this and
We
that.
can,
Yeah, we still had a good season. I mean, and we've kind of realized COVID's over.
Yeah.
That whole boom to the island, this is much more normal, I guess you would say.
We're
Yeah,
just gonna
yeah.
officially adjourn
Yep.
and
Oh,
stop
yes,
this
yes,
recording and then
Yeah, they don't
continue
need to,
chit chat
yes,
mode. Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
You'll be so happy.
But please continue.
Oh, no,